This is Clive Brooke. And what a strange paradox it is, isn't it, Percy? That while the terrible fact of war itself invariably brings out the best in men, the blessing of the peace that follows it so often reveals the worst.
It is a paradox, Clive, and a tragic one. And I don't suppose that any war in history has left behind such a scum of crime, big and little as the last one. And London was perhaps of all cities the most affected. Into London during the war years there poured men of all nations. But unfortunately, not all of these were men of goodwill. Hundreds of thousands returned to their homes, but some remained.
And our story concerns a small group of these. It is set in the London of 1945, a London still dazed by the fact of peace, a London relieved from the threat of bombing, but beset with shortages, a London which was giving asylum to many strange gentry who were thriving and growing fat on an increasing black market. Strange snatches of dialogue could be heard in the back streets of Soho, in the shady cafes and night dives, where hundreds of deserters from all nations mixed in with the existing criminal population of the great city.
Henry here, Joe?
On a table in the back room. Go right through. You with him, soldier?
Yes, I'm with him.
Go ahead, then.
Say, what is this? Who's this Polish guy? Is he on the level?
Go on in, soldier. I mind my business, and you see after yours.
Cameras is all very well. The watches is all very well. Occupation marks is all very well.
And Luger pistols is all very well. Now, soldier, what else you can get, huh?
Yeah, say, what kind of a racket is this? I just brought across these couple of cameras. The German guy traded them in for 4 packets of fags. I ain't got nothing else.
Now, listen, soldier. Cameras is for little people, eh? 30 pounds, 35 pounds. Finish. What about jewels, huh?
There's plenty jewels where you're coming from, yes? Plenty jewels where you go back to, yes?
Yeah, you blokes trying to make a crook out of me. I tell you, I got the cameras straight, see?
Now, listen, soldier. You help us, we help you. You are stationed near Hamburg. Good. Now, you go and see this man's. Here is the address. Take the packet he give you, and the first friend of yours who is for coming to London for leave, he bring us the packet, no?
I don't like it.
But you will like the 50 pounds, $200, Swiss francs, whatever you are wanting. Your friend hand back to you, no?
Yeah, who are you blokes, anyway?
I am Henrik. He is Marion. That is enough for you.
Henrik, Marion. Deserters from the Polish army. Men on the run. Men without identity cards, ration books, passports. Men now without a country. Men who could move about only by night. Members of the shadow army that manipulated London's black market. Men who carried no papers, but who carried... Yes, quite so. The gunfire of war was over, but other guns spat in the London nights. And as dawn broke over London River one October morning in 1945, 2 policemen were patrolling Lambeth Bridge when...
Well, I'll be.
What's that? What are you looking at, Tom?
Look through there. Here, in the pump house down there.
Can't see very well through this little hole. It's a man. Dead by the look of it, what's more.
It's a man, all right. How the devil they get him in there? The hole's not more than a foot wide. Door's locked. Listen, you get along to the fire service people and get the key, and I'll stay here.
It was a dead man. A murdered man. A man who was soon identified as taxi driver Frank Everett. His cab was found abandoned in Notting Hill Gate, 3.5 miles away from the body. which had been thrust into the tiny brick edifice in the middle of the busy bridge. Who had done this deed? Why?
Clearly shot in the back of the neck, Inspector. Probably the side of the driving wheel. Death almost instantaneous. Probably took place at about 2 this morning. Anything known about the fellow?
Seems to have been a good chap. Ex-guardsman, been a policeman. Known to his pals as the Duke. Motive, I'd say robbery.
Anything to go on?
The bullet, 32 caliber, and this.
What is it? Cap or something?
We found it on the floor of the cab, top of a propelling pencil.
Find the other half of that, and you've got your man.
Come, Doc, not so fast. Plenty of people use cabs. There's no reason to assume that this belonged to the last person to use this one. And it'd be hard enough to find him, even if it were so. No, Doc, there's not a lot to go on.
This was the kind of thing that was causing Scotland Yard its biggest headache ever. A resident native criminal population is one thing, but a floating reinforcement of unknown aliens is quite another. Who had killed taxi driver Everett?
Might be, well, anyone. Cab itself's a mess of fingerprints, naturally enough. And none of them on our records. Everett seemed to have no particular enemies. Seems a straightforward shoot and snatch.
And for what? Hey, Inspector?
Just a few pounds, as much as the poor chap could have had at the end of his day's work. Murder for just a little cash in hand. And it makes you think. Well, there's not much more we can do here, Doc. Better get back to the yard.
Wake up! Black Market, window, read all about it. Black Market, window, wake up! Pick up the van corner of George and Melville Street, Lou, and take the stuff right over to Joe's place. Whiskey mostly, but 100 cases of gin as well.
Now listen, Tom. There's a chap I know can fix everything for you. You want the dollars? He's got them. Of course, they'll cost you double the odds, but the point is they're there.
Watches, Mr. Mason? Of course you shall have watches. They're good ones, Swiss ones. Meet me here Friday, same time, and I'll have them. Oh, and by the way, bring cash. You understand. Checks? We don't want them.
But sometimes, and it's the oldest inevitability of the underworld, thieves fall out. In the small hours of the morning, not a fortnight after taxi driver Everett had been found, huddled in the Lambeth Bridge pumping house, a policeman patrolling the Notting Hill Gate area of London noticed a small saloon car standing rather out from the curb.
Queer place to leave a car. Excuse me, sir. 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 Come on there now. Wake up, wake up.
Blood? He's dead. Chief Inspector Somerset speaking. Who? Oh, yes, Sergeant. Good morning to you. The devil you have. We'll be right down. You're right, Sergeant. This certainly is a job for the murder squad. Goodbye. Sergeant. Sir, ask Inspector Byrne to step this way, will you? And get me the Home Office on the telephone. I want to speak to Dr. Kerr.
Very good, sir. Right away, sir.
Honey, Notting Hill Gate again. Home Office, Somerset speaking. Oh, is that you, Doctor? Can I pick you up in a quarter of an hour's time? A fellow found shot in a car. Yes. Notting Hill Gate area. Right, we'll call for you. Goodbye.
Down at the scene of the crime, Detective Inspector Somerset, Dr. Donald Tier, Home Office pathologist, and members of the murder squad got busy. The doctor gave his verdict briefly.
Shot to the back of the neck, Inspector. Bullet just missed a vital brain center, so it probably took quite a while to die, poor devil. What have you got there?
The bullet, Doctor. 32 caliber. Bedded in the roof of the car. Clearly a shot in the front seat, then dumped in the back. Pockets have been rifled, so it looks like robbery. The chap who did it's been good enough to leave his fingerprints and blood on the windscreen. Oh, yes, Sergeant, what is it?
We checked the car number, sir, and found that it belongs to a foreigner, sir. Matarazov's the name. Reuben Matarazov.
Well, I'll be hanged. So that's who it is. Russian Robert himself.
Who's he, Inspector?
A nasty piece of work, Doctor. There's not a country in Europe that hasn't chucked him out. And he's been operating here since just before the war. Stolen jewelry, gaming houses, currency deals.
That's good riddance, eh?
It is damn good riddance. But unfortunately, it's something else, too.
What's that?
Murder.
Inspector Byrne speaking.
Fine, good. I want you to stand by for a big roundup starting tonight. I'll want every available man and woman on the job.
Right. What's the object?
Russian Robert's been shot.
The devil he has.
And I say it was one of his pals, or maybe more. We've got to find him.
Right. When do I expect you?
After lunch. I've just got one inquiry to make, then we'll get going. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
Yes?
This is Mr. Marty Ross's flat.
Well, what about it? He's out. I don't know when he'll be back.
He won't be back, madam. He's dead.
I don't know where he went. I don't know who he was going to meet. I tell you, I don't know.
Try and think again, madam. You told me he was here during the evening.
Yes, that's right. Just, well, sort of here. Not doing anything special. Then he was getting ready to go to bed when the phone rings.
Well, go on. What time was that?
It'd be about 11 o'clock. He didn't say much into the phone. Just yes and no and things like that. Then he hangs up the receiver and comes in with his hat on.
Seemed in a hurry, eh?
Well, yes, he did. He just said, so long, and went back.
Is that all he said? Come now, madam, I want the truth of this. Did he say where he was going?
Well, yes, he did. Just said, I've got to meet some people down by the Edgware Road Underground Station. That's all.
And you wouldn't know who?
No. No, I wouldn't. Friends, I suppose.
Which friends?
I tell you, I don't know. He has a lot of friends. He has a lot of queer friends.
Madam, you're right, he had. Good day to you.
An international criminal, chief of a thriving London black market gang, is dead in his car, shot through the neck. And all the resources of Scotland Yard are mobilized for one of the most all-embracing underworld probes ever conducted. Dozens of detectives, men and women, took on strange roles, posing as currency evaders, speculators in black market liquor, indeed as every type of stooge upon which Russian Robert and his colleagues flourished. They descended upon the night spots, shady hotels, and drinking clubs. Chief Inspector Somerset himself played a leading role.
Well, what about another? Good stuff, eh? The real Mackay, this. Yes, Harry's never short. Oh, same again, then?
Two of the special scotch, please, Harry.
Here you go, sir.
So you don't think you can help me? It's not easy, pal. It's not easy. Dollars, they're tight, pal. Tighter than they've ever been. But our mutual friend told me that... Oh, cheers. You're good health. Yes, he might have told you. And a week ago he'd have been right. I could have got him. But, now look, I'll tell you something. You read about that fella that got choked the other day? Plugged in his car? Oh, yes, Pole, wasn't he? Or Russian or something? Real name was Marty Rossov. Russian Robert, they called him. Well, that's where the dollars would have come from. A week ago. See? Oh, just my luck. But surely hadn't he a pal or something? He'd plenty. Look, I'll tell you something. And maybe it'll help you. Trouble is, I don't know him myself. Not like I knew Robert. I've been very grateful. Harry, 2 more scotches. There's a fellow dressed up as a Polish naval officer who was in on dollars with Robert. There's him, and there's another. Mm-hmm. Go on, this may mean a lot to me. This other fellow's a Pole, too, but he's a civvy. I met him with Robert once. Name of Marion. What, do you mean that's his surname? That's all we ever called him. Marion. Just Marion. But where can I find these fellows? Yeah, that's where you've got me, pal. Might be here.
Oh, I haven't seen him since Robert got croaked. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll try and find out. See?
Oh, thanks. Well, I'll look in again in a day or two. You always here?
Over to this time.
This much the man from Scotland Yard learned. And then, this.
Please go on, madam. You're being most helpful.
Well, oh, Inspector, if I lay my hands on them...
Yes, I'm sure. I want you to help us do just that.
Well, what happened was this. A man friend and I were in the Pelican Club about 3 weeks ago it was, and there were these three at the bar. One was a naval officer, the other just, quite an ordinary-looking fellow, though he spoke with an accent, and the girl. We got into conversation with them.
No, please, you smoke one of mine.
I don't know if I should. Oh, well, thanks.
Will you, madame?
You go on, miss. When my friend is becoming generous, it's the time to strike. Look out, he might offer you a drink yet.
And it is his turn, Henry. Oh, look, let me give you a light, if it works.
A woman with a lighter that works. Oh, what wonder.
I'm afraid mine never works. Oh, what a beautiful bag. It is rather a pet, isn't it? I'm terribly filled with it. May I look? Oh, this is lovely, isn't it, Ken?
Yes, certainly is.
I haven't seen anything like that since before the war. American, I suppose. You guessed again. Paris, then? No, not Paris either. It certainly didn't come from this country. Shall I tell her, Marion?
I shall be flattered, my dear.
The genius who made me this bag isn't a yard away.
Great Scott, you don't mean to tell me who made it, sir?
Please, I confess, yes, I make it. I'm glad you approve.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I suppose...
Now then, Linda, now then.
Oh, but darling, it's so lovely. Could you?
Well, I do make them, madame, but I am very busy. So many orders.
But Marion, there's Mrs. Fortescue you just finished. Remember, she cancelled the order, and it's exactly like mine.
Oh, yes, that is true, yes.
Well, might as well be hanged for a sheep as a lamb.
Oh, can you, darling?
Well, I don't know about that. Well, could you let me have the bag, and as a matter of interest?
I'm afraid they're not cheap, sir.
I scarcely expected they would be.
The price of the bag is 45 pounds, sir. I would not ask you to pay that now, naturally. But if perhaps you give me a deposit, I'll complete the bag, say in 2 days, and mail it to madame. Then you can pay me the balance if you are satisfied.
Seems fair enough.
Good. Shall we say 25 pounds down, then, and the balance on Thursday when madame receives the bag?
It's an awful lot, darling.
No nonsense. Our back's a winner today. Right you are, then. I'm most grateful to you.
Oh, not at all. Then if I could have madame's address, I will see that she has the bag.
And that was the last we heard, Inspector, except I was angry, Inspector, so angry that I went almost mad. I went back to the Pelican, and I bulleted an address out of the barman. I went there, Lansdowne Road, Maida Vale.
Go on, what happened?
I can't tell you. I want to forget it. It was horrible, horrible. There was a Spaniard who made the bags. They're not men, Inspector. They're monsters, beasts. I ran, and here I am.
Well, perhaps you'll come with me in a police car and point out the house.
Yes, of course, Inspector.
But the house, a 6th-floor boarding establishment, was completely empty. The birds had flown. Chief Inspector Somerset was relentless.
I want a dozen of our women, Baron, and this is what I want them to do. Each takes an area. Each poses as a victim of this damned handbag trick, looking for the tricksters. We may get somewhere in that way. A hint, if nothing more.
Woman Detective Shirley Jennings, probing the Maida Vale area, got more than a hint.
There's too much of that sort of thing going on by a long chalk.
Then you do know something.
I once I do, and I once I don't, but if I was you, I'd ask again 3 doors up.
It was Chief Inspector Somerset, with his murder squad posted at all approaches to the house, who called 3 doors up.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm sure, sir, but that's all the rooms I've got vacant just at the moment.
Oh, pity. I do like to be on another floor. Is there no chance of a vacancy upstairs?
Well, I don't know, sir. Gents comes and gents goes. Spanish gentleman in the 3rd floor front, well, he hasn't been here long. He might go, or he might not.
Spanish gentleman, eh? Well, I wonder. Could I see the room?
No, that I'm afraid you can't, sir. He always locks up when he goes out.
Come on.
Oh, my goodness me, sir, what's going on outside?
What? Where?
Well, them 2 men, sir. What have gone on with that naval gentleman?
Looks as though the police are arresting him.
Why, whatever can the matter be? Oh, my goodness, they put him in that car.
Oh, well. Oh, there you are, sir. So you've got him, eh?
Afraid not, sir. This chap's a Polish deserter, but he's not our man.
One Polish deserter's as likely as not to know the next. You, what's your name?
Hirokov.
What do you know of a man called Marion?
Marion? Marion? Why? I'm not going to meet this man, Marion. Yes, look, I am give this address and told he will be there this evening.
Sergeant, take this man back to the yard and hold him there. You and I will go to meet Marion.
And in a squalid cafe in London's East India Dock Road, the men from Scotland Yard met the man called Marion.
Who you are? I not know you, any of you. This is wicked, wicked.
You come along with us, my lad. You can do all your talking back at the yard.
I protest.
Yes, I've no doubt you do. Come on, get moving.
Neat, a very neat pickup, and one which exceeded even Chief Inspector Somerset's highest expectations. For at Scotland Yard, when Marion Godofsky's possessions were laid out upon the table...
And I suppose you now got this, and this, and this.
They were given by a friend.
This cigarette lighter, Grandowski, and this watch and this wallet belong to a man called Notarosov. Russian Robert, I think you called him. And I suppose you've never heard of Henrik Malinowski.
I have heard of him.
Well, I hope you will soon have the pleasure of meeting him.
Inside Matarosov's wallet, Somerset found the name of Malinowski and an address in the North London suburb of Ilford. Malinowski was in civilian clothes, but the uniform of a Polish naval officer was discovered in wardrobe. In his pockets were a signet ring and other jewelry that had belonged to the murdered Russian Robert. These two charming Polish gentlemen, who had worked so long together, were not exactly loyal when it came to the showdown, and they saw that it was...
All right, Grandowski, my lad. All right, take your time.
After we meet Robert that night, we go to a cafe and discuss things to do. Then we go to the car, and Malinowski is always for wanting to shoot people and robbing them. Malinowski, he said to me, I am going to finish with him. We are pushing the car for to start it, and I tell Malinowski not to be a fool. Then he starting the engine, I sit in front with Robert. Then I hear a shot, and I get like bells in my ears. I get out. Malinowski come after me, and he said, come back or I shoot you. I went back with him and helped to put Robert in the back seat. We went to Malinowski's room and divided the money.
And that's all?
Yes, that is all.
Was that the truth? Or this?
It was I who sat beside Robert. Marion is in the back. I hear a shot, and Robert's head falls forward. Marion said, we must camouflage it, and asked me to move Robert. I said I could not do it. Marion pulled down the seat alongside of Robert and dragged him into the back car. When they counted the money, there was about 160 pounds. Marion gave me 80.
Yes, a charming pair of gentlemen, neither of whose statements was enough to save him from the gallows a week or two later. Of course, there were certain matters of fact that made the guilt of at least one of them positive, as Percy Hoskins will tell you.
In the first place, the bloodstained fingerprints on the windscreen of Russian Robert's car were found to be those of Marion Grandowski. In the second place, a .32 automatic pistol picked up at his address proved to be the one that fired the fatal bullet. Oh, and there was another thing. Something else was found among Grandowski's effects.
I thought this might be of some interest to you.
Ah, self-propelling pencil, eh? Aha, and minus a top. Sergeant, have you the exhibits in the taxi driver murder?
Yes, sir. This is the pencil top we found.
A perfect fit. And look, the little fracture in the groove settles it. Well, Sergeant, I think we can stop work on that case. Pity we can't hang the same scoundrel twice.
We can hang two of them once, sir, and they've got a potential third out of our way.
Yes, when thieves fall out. You know, I often wonder what makes men take such chances. Of these three rascals, two had proved themselves damned soldiers. The third, Russian Robert, was a crook through and through and always had been. There's an irony about the whole case, isn't there?
Yes, indeed, Clive. And perhaps the most significant thing of all is that it took the anger of a woman who had been cheated to round the matter off.
And that brings us to the end of the Black Market Murders, or the case of Russian Robert.